And the symbol of that pshat, I think, is the Kli Akar. The Kli Akar on page 2 says, the Midrash says, what's this eights? So at least one of the interpretations of the eights, the Midrash says it was the Zayit. Right? And if you look, again, it talks about the Eitz Chaim, but also talks about, which was the pshat I just said, it was the last pshat in the Medrash, but the first pshat in the Medrash said it was the Zayit. Ubiur ha'inyan, Torah tchilata azmara. At the beginning of learning Torah, it could be bitter. V'nikrei tushiyah, literally means wisdom. But Chazal darshan shemateshet kocho shel adam. It weakens the power of man. And why is Torah compared to Zayit? We're getting up to Tu B'Shvat soon. So ma Zayit zet tchilato mar, besofo matok. So too after very Torah came. And also the mitzvot also gam kein lavle not ninu. The idea is that just like the Zayit is the beginning is mar and so for matok, it's coming to teach you the chokum mishpat v'sham nisayon. He's telling you how you're going to be able to be mekabel Torah. It's not all sweet, but there are times for mirirut to be able to learn from those mirirut to be able for the Torah to help you and deal with life, if you will. I once ran a Tu B'Shvat Seder for New Olim Chadashim. It was around 5 or 6 years ago. And I did that medrash of Zayit. And so then I went around the room and I said, tell me one nice thing about your first Aliyah experience, and then tell me a Zayit experience. You know, something difficult in your first year in Aliyah. So it was kind of funny because I had both parents and I had kids there. So one of the kids said, I looked at my schedule, you know, for high school. I was looking around, you know, and I see it says, you know, sport. He read sport. I was like, wow, there's 2 sport things. This is awesome. I love Israel. I love the, you know, Misrad HaChinuch here. What did he really say? Safrut. You know? It's like, oh. And then, what was the other one? There's some other one like he thought it was like Sheina, like he thought, oh, it's like, you know, sleep time. It was like Shinun or something like that, you know. And then the other like funny piece was the parents, like 2 parents at the table said that they kept on getting these letters in the mail, that these funny colored envelopes in the mail. And they just kept throwing it out. It's like, what the heck is this, you know, garbage mail? Until they realized that, you know, basically both of them, you know, they had the traveling husbands issue, you know, and then like one night the electricity, like, you know, went out because they kept throwing out the electric bill, you know, but it looked like, you know, it looked like garbage mail. So those were the Zayit experiences. So just to take part 2, and assuming if we have a part 2 of the shiur also, we'll see next week. This executive decision will be made by Team Smackdown due to finals. What I would like to do was to do a second part of Talmud Torah, but from this story of Mara, we also learned a very important takana, right? That Rav Soloveitchik had a very, very long yortzeit shiur. I'll just take just one small part of it to tell you about it, which is the beginning. Vayelchu shloshi yamim bamidbar v'lo matzu mayim. Right, there were 3 days that they didn't find water, and based on this, the Gemara brings down that Moshe or Ezra made a takana that we read the Torah, we make sure not to go 3 days without Torah, based on this Mara experience, and that's the Gemara in Baba Kama Daf Pei Beis. And then the Gemara deals with who made this takana to read on Monday, Thursday, and Shabbat by Mincha. So the Gemara first said it was Ezra. Then the Gemara asked, 1 second, Ezra Tikein, V'hami Ikara Hava Mitakna. It preceded Ezra. Titania, this week's parsha, V'echu Shloshim Yamim Bamidbar V'lo Matzu Mayim, Torshei Rishumot Amru In Mayim El Torah Shenemar Hoi Kol Tzamei L'chula Mayim. So Kevit Shalchu Shloshim Yamim Below Torah Nilu, they became tired. So Amdu Neviim Shebeineim V'tiknu Lahem Shikorim B'Shabbat Umafsikim B'Cha B'Shabbat Korim B'Sheni Umafsikin Shlishi V'Reviv Korim B'Chamishi Umafsikin Erev Shabbat Kidei Shelo Yalinu Gimel Yamim Below Torah. So the Gemara then makes a distinction, and it's true. It's interesting. It says Neviim Shebeineim. We'll see the Rambam understood it as Moshe Rabbeinu, okay, which is in itself an interesting question. It's also interesting why the the Gemara has to go very explicit in this midrash to tell me, they learned on Shabbos, didn't learn on Sunday, learned on Monday, didn't learn on Tuesday and Wednesday. Like, why does it have to give me the ABCs? Really? Rav Soloveitchik dealt with that a little bit, not for now. So then the Gemara answers the distinctions that me'ikara tiknu chad gavra, one person, and they would read 3 psukim, or inami even 3 people, and 3 psukim. Keneg kohanim levim Yisraelim. But then Ezra came and said 3 people and 10 psukim, corresponding to the Asara Batlanim, the 10 people that would stay in the Beit Knesset to continue to learn the whole time. So that's the Gemara. So the question is, it's not so clear, but it's clear. We said the function is that you shouldn't go shloshi yamim below Torah. But if you look at the Rambam adds a couple words and teaches us many, many lessons that I want to not go through as much as the Ezra's Takana. Rav Soloveitchik's Yortzeit Shir for 6 hours went through basically analyzing Moshe's Takana, Ezra's Takana, what's the need for both. I, in a couple of minutes, will just do, I think, just a little bit of the differences, some of the questions that Rav Soloveitchik asked also, and I think something that will hopefully open up our eyes to the Takana and maybe a deep message of what it means Shlosh Yamim B'li Torah. So the Rambam, when he brings it down, as I said, he doesn't have Nevi'im, but he says Moshe Rabbeinu Tikei Lahem Yisrael Shikorim B'Torah B'Rabim B'Shabbat Sheni V'Chamishi B'Shacharit Kedei Shelo Yishu Shlosha Yamim Below Shmiat Torah. That was the first question Rav Soloveitchik says. What's below Shmiat Torah? Why not just below Torah? What is this extra Shmiat Torah? And then Ezra Tikein, Shikorim B'Mincha B'Chol Shabbat, Mishum Yoshve Kronot, V'gamu Tikein Shiyukorim B'Sheni V'Chamishi Shlosha B'nei Adam V'lo Yikru less than 10 psukim. So definitely the 10 psukim piece. 3 people might have been a difference depending on which girsa. But what's interesting is then the Rambam repeats himself seemingly, or not. And he says in Halacha Gimel, Ein Korin B'Torah B'Tzibor, less than 10 people. And he says, Ein Korin Pachot Me'asara Psukim. Meaning he then, but we already learned that already from Ezra. Ezra already said, we said that already in the first Halacha. V'lo Yikru Pachot Me'asara Psukim. But the idea is that what? Now all of a sudden, it's not only a nice thing, but if you don't read 10 Psukim, what is the Rambam telling you? Ezra's Takana is Ma'akiv. Meaning, if you're not going to read 10 Psukim, then don't read. Which is a fascinating question. This part we're not going to answer. This was part of the 6-hour shiur, which is, how can Ezra do this? Ezra is doing what's called, there's a rule, if you learn Mesechet Megillah, Ein Beis Din Yachol Levatel, Divrei Beis Din Chavero, and Ken Gadol Mimenu B'Chachma V'Minyan. Moshe made a takana, now Ezra's coming and uprooting that. And saying, only if you have 10 psukim, can you actually read. So we're not going to deal with that question, even though I think it's a good question. The first question we're going to deal with is, what does it mean below Shmiat Torah? Second of all of a sudden the Rambam brings down in Perek Yud Bet, Halacha Yud, skipping a couple halachot, that from the times of Ezra, they had a minhag to have a turgaman, mitargem la'am macha korei ba'Torah, kidei sheyavinu inyan ha'devarim. This is very important. Now this is not ma'akiv, but this was, Ezra felt that it's important to have a turgaman. The question is, what's the deep message? Why did Moshe not feel, why did Moshe have that? Why didn't they have a turgaman?
Because they used to live in Babel.
What?
They used to live in Babel, so maybe people
didn't understand. I mean, they needed to understand. Right? I mean, it's a different language. Could be. But the Yerushalmi and others give a more, maybe a different developmental pshat. And Rav Soloveitchik explained the difference between Moshe's takana and Ezra's takana. Is that Moshe, what the Shlosh Yamim B'li Shmiat Torah was, is that Moshe's takana was the Torah Shebachtav. Torah Shebachtav that you need to have to read the Torah. Very mechanically read the Torah. And that's important also, based on next week's part, 2 weeks. Vayikach Sefer Abrit Vayikra Ba'oznei Ha'am Vayomru Kol Asher Diber Hashem Na'aseh V'Nishma. You read it in the ears of the people. There's the focus of the ears, you hear it. Do you understand it? Are you using your brain? No, I don't understand the word. But I read the Torah Shebachtav. As opposed to if I read Me'emasai Korin Shema Ba'arvit, I read the first Mishnah. I don't know what the word Me'ematai means. I don't know what the word Korin means. I don't know what the Shema means. That's not Torah. I read something. I read some Aramaic, whatever it is. Here, when it comes to Kriyat HaTorah, Torah Shebechtav, there's just to not even understand it, just to read it. For example, Hakel, the next source in front of you on page 3, right? In the older times when the women weren't educated and they came, they didn't understand, so they came just to hear. Right? The Geirim also, she'inam makirim chayvim machin livam v'akshim b'azman l'shmoa be'ima v'yira gila b'rada kiyom shenina bo Sinai. Afilu chachamim gdolim she'odim kol Torah kol chayvim l'shmoa b'kavanah gdola yetera u'mi she'inach l'shmoa just mechaven libo l'kriya zu shelo kava katuv, etc., etc. Right? So we have this concept of Torah Shebechtav is just, you get a mitzvah, right? For learning Megillah, right? The people who don't understand, what do we say? Just read the Hebrew. Right? But if you speak Spanish and you read French, you don't read any French. You know French in the Megillah, right? Not a word. You don't understand the word, right? Rabbi Sovolovsky in one of his shiurim said he was a guest speaker in Poland. So in Poland, he had the chief rabbi who was giving a shiur in Polish, and then he gave a shiur in English. So Rabbi Sovolovsky said that he sat through the shiur for 45 minutes, and he said he finally understood what this is talking about. He didn't understand the word. Right? He said, like, okay, because of Kavod Torah, he's happy he sat there, but like, he sat there and he didn't understand the word of the guy was saying in Polish. So he didn't mekayim the mitzvah of Talmud Torah in its sense. He had no idea what the heck the guy was talking about. Meaning, if the chief rabbi was just saying psukim, he would have been Yotzei, right? Kriyat HaTorah. To the point that we see, Rav Soloveitchik points out in the next two sources that that's the antithesis of what Torah Sheba'al Peh is about. Torah Sheba'al Peh, the Gemara talks about as a whole list of what the reward is. It says, Igra de Pirka is Riyata. The schar of Torah Sheba'al Peh is you're running. Because Rashi explains, why is that your ikar schar? Ikar kibus schar abriot aratzim l'shmoa drasha mipi chacham is what? The schar of you running. Shari rubam enam mivinim la'amid girsa v'lomar shmoa mipi rabban la'achar zman she'ikabu schar limud. Because most people don't understand it and most people don't remember it. So at least you ran towards it. So we see that there are two different things. There's a thing called Torah Shebechtav and Torah Sheba'al Peh. And Torah Shebechtav, Rav Soloveitchik actually said there are two levels of Torah Shebechtav. There's the Torah Shebechtav, and this is in the next psukim. There's the concept of Sima B'fihem. Just put it in your mouths. And Ken. Shar.
Excuse me.
אין בעיה. הם מבינים עברית יותר מטוב ממני. כן. אני לא נציג פה. מה קורה? הם ודאי מעוניינים בשידוכים.
It's in the shiur right now.
זה פשוט. זה כבר לכל השיעור. השירה. פה זה מרים וזה משה. אבל אנחנו כבר מסיימים. יש לך איזה כרטיס?
כן, אני יכולה לתת אימייל.
מה? שלהם? מה האימא?
יש לך אס-אם-אס?
אנחנו זיכרון טוב.
יש טוש. אפשר לרשום על הלוח.
בסדר, אני יכולה לתת לכם את הכרטיס?
יש כרטיס?
לא, בסדר, אני אעביר לכם אבל את האימייל.
How are you supposed to come?
Don't do saw you at Sinai, don't do why you connects. Kesher. No pressure.
You wouldn't watch it.
COLANO1. Colano1. S. Simcha Gedola. Anybody who's interested in getting married? Toda rabba. And baya. Anybody's interested in getting married, please take down the email. No pressure. Okay, so now, Rav Soloveitchik pointed out that there's a second kiyum. There's the kiyum of just the reading, sima b'fiem, but there's also the kitvu lachem et hashira azot, right? The concept of it being aid, right? Lamanti ali hashira azot le'aid b'nei Yisrael. That's with your understanding.
That's the first one. Or the second one?
Right? This is, Rav Soloveitchik said there's the concept of sima b'fiem, just without understanding it, just saying it. But then there's also the shira part, the shira hazot le'eid b'nei Yisrael, the concept of you understanding what you're reading also. Rav Soloveitchik pointed out, what's the What's the kunz of reading Torah? What's the reading of Torah? Why am I yotze the mitzvah of Talmud Torah of just reading? What?
Isn't it the opposite?
That what?
Shira is to just make them, hear it, and the sima v'fiem that they will actually understand it.
If I'm not mistaken, he said it, but I could probably hear what you're saying. But let me just make sure. I looked at it this morning. Sima v'fiem is just like put it in their mouths.
Shira is like something.
Shira is like you get into it, but you understand it. Cadence, half cadence. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's my big YU education there in my music. Half cadence, Guy had like 4 fingers. The true story. Now so Rav Soloveitchik explained that he explained through a couple of things, but he explained through the mitzvah of tefillin, for example. That the mitzvah of tefillin, when you put on tefillin, as the Rambam says, it's not just putting it on, but the Rambam says, Kedushat tefillin, Kedushatan gedolahi shekol zman, shat tefillin berosho shel adam v'al zro'o. There's a metamorphosis. The man is an anav, a yari shamayim, ve'enu nimshach b'schok v'sicha b'teila, etc., etc. Rav Soloveitchik explained, when you put on the tefillin, there's supposed to be a kiddush gavla, right? It's supposed to be your metamorphosis, if you will, like we see by tshuva. I'm a different person, ish acher. Rav Soloveitchik applied that to Talmud Torah also. The idea is that once you read, just having the reading of the Torah, even if you don't understand it, it's supposed to be able to have that metamorphosis, to be able to be that ish acher. I believe if you want to describe it in, if you want to call it normal terms, or not metaphysical terms, I think it's based on the quantity also of the 3 days. It hit me when I read it this morning that maybe it's the same idea like the Gemara Nedarim says, the last source on the page, that if a person swears that he will not sleep for 3 days, you give him malchus. Why? Because physically, a person, as much as finals are coming up, guys, right? Sleeping, and I don't know what the newest drink out there when I was in college, you had the thing, Mountain Dew, Mountain Dew. They had this Coke, not like cocaine, but like Coke that like put in a lot of sugar. That was the different. That was high school, not college. You know what I mean? But I didn't do Coke, but I did go to MTA. I'm saying, so I watched outside. I got a lot of expertise of what was going on, right? But what was it? I don't remember what it was called. There was a thing where you put there was super sugar in Coke, whatever. You know the idea. The idea is the Gemara says if a person swears 3 days without sleeping, it's an impossibility. And the idea is what I think Rav Soloveitchik was referring to also is that 3 days without Torah is something that can't be for a person that wants life, right? Kihem chayenu va'orach yameinu. It's something for the Jewish neshama. It's our spiritual oxygen. It's our way of life, and I think that's hinted to in the second to last source. You might ask why it's the second last source, even though I'm quoting the last source, was because I was having problems, so I just said the heck with it. I couldn't switch it. So it's what can you do? Computer illiterate. Vayityatzvu v'tachtit ahar, the famous Gemara that says that Hashem forced us. Melamed shekafa HaKadosh Baruch Hu aleim et ahar ki yiyit. V'amar lahem im atem mikablim haTorah, great. V'im lav Sham tehei kvuratchem. So Rav Soloveitchik asked, he said in B'derech Drush, it's in the new sefer of Divrei Harav that Rav Shechter just put out, that he in page Kufayin Vav, the question that everybody asks, what it should have said is what? Im atem mikablim Torah, great. V'im lav, tell me the proper Hebrew now. What should it have said? Sham tehei kvuratchem or po? Right? It's like Nesaya, po, sham, yay. Right? V'im lav, po tehei kvuratchem. What's sham tehei kvuratchem? So Rav Soloveitchik explained exactly what we're saying. That the idea is if you don't make Torah central in accepting it, then it's not potei kvuratchem. If you don't understand that Talmud Torah is central, in your life and making Torah central life, then sham, your whole life is going to be without meaning, right? The idea is hopefully that that's what the Kriyat Torah every 3 days, even without the understanding. Ezra had a different level, right? Ezra was dealing with the Torah Shabbat Peh, and that's the quantity. He dealt with the 10 psukim, which there are reasons, the 10 psukim and the Targum. He had a different agenda. But Moshe Rabbeinu was basically saying, make sure to make Torah part of your central mode of existence. And through that, that's the Shlosh Yamim B'li Torah, that hopefully, Be'ezrat Hashem, each and every one of us, even through finals time, will be able to continue being kovei itim.